Hello, I'm James Preston for Kalkine Media, and welcome to another edition of Executive Corner Expert Talks. In this edition, I'll be shining a light on Stratiform Business Solutions. And the best way to do that is to sit down with the director at Stratiform, which is Mr. Mark Wheeler. Mark, thank you so much for joining me today here at Kalkine.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Mark, first and foremost, for those who aren't aware of what Stratiform Business Solutions does, what exactly is it that you spend your time doing?
Well, I'd say about 80% of our business is being a Salesforce partner. We do a lot of implementations of Salesforce to CRM, customizing the platform, integrating other systems with the platform. And then kind of the other 20% is a combination of building apps and websites, helping kind of a business consultant. So usually when we do something like implement Salesforce, we find out some of the weaknesses of the businesses we're working with. And that might be like they have a process that's not great or something we can improve along the way. So we end up doing that as well.
Terrific. You mentioned there as well that the term CRM. Now, for those who aren't in the know as to what CRM is, can you take us through a bit of that concept?
Yep. So, what it stands for is customer relationship management. So, but the idea is basically the hub of all your data. So there's no point in marketing or asking or, doing surveys and collecting all this data on a client if you're not going to actually keep that information and then fine tune your marketing based on that information. Along with the simplest things, nothing frustrates me more than when a very large company will call me and try to sell me something I already have. And I know they have a CRM. And I'm like, well, then obviously you're not using it well because I have this already. Or I wouldn't purchase that. As simple as like an Apple product as opposed to a Samsung product, something like that. And so if you're using a CRM correctly, you know everything about the client. You would know if there's an issue that they're having. So instead of calling them and trying to sell them something, you might want to call them and offer to solve their issue before you try to sell them something. So a CRM allows you to do that.
Well, another thing that has really been, I suppose, beneficial for you in some ways is obviously this COVID period recently. There's been a lot of businesses that have either thrived or they've tend to have fallen down, but yours has been one that's gone from strength to strength. Can you take us through the process the last couple of years for Stratiform?
Yeah, so, a lot of our clients, we have a wide range of clients. So, say we have a not-for-profit, they struggled with the working from home concept. They enjoyed the benefits of having free coffee at home and things like that. But when it came time to have Zoom meetings or to use their computer at home and Zooming and all of that, they were struggling. So we helped a lot of our clients with, hey, by leveraging your cloud-based CRM, Salesforce, you already have all the information you need. So you can still do everything. You can still capture all your phone calls, capture all your emails. What the last conversation you had with your client was. So with some of our clients, we had to help them leverage what they already had. And with other clients, we implemented Salesforce to allow them to do their job better and realize that it doesn't matter where you're at. Doesn't matter if you're at home or at the cafe. With a cloud-based solution like Salesforce, you're set. You have everything at your fingertips.
Obviously, there's so many different things that are coming out in 2022 in terms of new things that clients are looking for, new things that businesses are looking for. How is Stratiform positioned to pivot to take advantage of the latest trends that occur in this space?
So we basically just listen to our clients. We try to find out their goals. We definitely take a listening stance as opposed to offering what the latest new gadget is. In some cases, I can tell when my clients have been to a seminar or been, Google surfing or whatever, checking things out, and they kind of know kind of the latest gadgets or ways of doing things. And I just say, hey, listen, take a step back. And if it's not going to benefit your customer journey, there's no reason to jump on a trend. You want to move forward for the benefit of the client, not move forward just because you got to have the latest thing. So we do a lot of listening and find out what their goal is. And from there, then we go, hey, there's this, we can plug this in. We can, you should have your systems talking to each other. Or there's also times when a client is looking at integrating a couple systems and it just doesn't make sense. There's no reason for it. Don't do it just to do it. If you don't care, if your sales team doesn't care if a client's been invoiced, why are you integrating your invoicing system? So it's definitely, we have to do a lot of stepping back, and sometimes we're just a fly in the wall in the room and listen to their conversations.
I think that's a big thing. I mean, it's probably one of the most important but underrated skills that we see, not just in business, but in life, is just the ability to take a step back and actually listen and hear what's being conveyed. Because often I think we're just so quick to try and respond to situations as opposed to actually taking the information on board. So it's a really good point you raise. I mean, is that something that clients and businesses, when they're dealing with you, do they comment on that kind of approach from you guys?
Yeah, definitely. Because lots of times they've been talking to somebody that's been trying to sell them a product, and there's a lot of words thrown out. All the new marketing terms are thrown out, and I have to go in and kind of say, okay, well, this means this and this means that. And you don't have to use these terms. An industry is still an industry. You don't have to change it for the latest vibe. And also to, you're not, if your brand recognition is, a lot of people they think they're Coca-Cola, or they think they're Pepsi, or they think they're a big name. And that type of marketing doesn't always work when you're a business in Melbourne. So you need to take a different approach. So we do a lot of listening to find out what the goal is, who are you marketing to? What is it you want to sell? What are you asking for? And then we help them to accomplish that. And whether that's a CRM or a better website, or you'd be amazed at how many people like to put on a post on their social media, but they don't ask for anything. Especially a not-for-profit. I'm like, can I ask what that post was about? What was the point? You didn't even ask for a donation. So that we do a lot of that, a lot of trying to figure out what the end goal is.
We've also mentioned that you're a Salesforce partner, and obviously that helps you to engage in a more personalized experience for your customers, because that's a key focus there as well. How does Stratiform effectively deliver, though, this sort of tailored experience for each of their clients? What's the process start to finish to make sure that happens?
Well, we try to focus more on our engagement with the client and less on the actual project. So working for a lot of partners in the past, and being an end user of Salesforce in the past, I've seen kind of, how partners deliver their implementation or their solution. And we kind of take a different approach. We feel that the engagement with the client and the alignment with the client is more important than, focusing just on deliverable. Focusing on a Gantt chart and the what column everything's in. We don't, and that maybe we might have a client that thinks that's a weakness, but we use it as a strength. We think that if we're focused on what the goal is of the client and how Salesforce is going to help them and make their process easier, then we feel that everyone comes out better.
Well, there's also been a lot of research that's tending to indicate that the global customer relationship management market size will be well beyond $150 billion by 2030, which is just an insane figure. Do you believe those predictions will come to fruition, and where can Stratiform, I suppose, enter into that conversation to really capitalize on that growth?
The number seems realistic to me. I mean, I used to say CRM and nobody knew what I was talking about. It's hard to explain my job to, when I'm playing poker with a bunch of friends and they go, "What do you do again? I don't know what you do." And they go, "I've seen on your LinkedIn, you're a Salesforce partner," and they don't know what Salesforce is. Nowadays, that seems to go away. Everyone knows what CRM is. Everybody knows what Salesforce or a similar product is. They understand the importance. And I think one of the reasons is everyone understands that the sales team, a lot of people are sales driven. So they always think the sales team is the division that needs to use the solution. And I think differently. I think the sales team, of course, should be using it. But if your receptionist is using it and your support, your customer service team is using it, and your sales team and your post-sales team are all using the one system, then you do learn about your client and you know how to take care of their needs. So if somebody rings up and the receptionist can click into Salesforce real quick and see that, hey, they have a complaint that no one's even dealt with yet, they can deal with that. And they can at least acknowledge it, even if they can't fix it. But that's becoming more and more important as customer service is more important than the product nowadays. You can get the same product from multiple places, but when you have an issue with it, when they solve your problem, then you're happy.
You mentioned there it is a very competitive industry. Obviously, we've seen huge growth in the sector itself, and you're also talking there about the fact that people now, they do attribute the fact that Salesforce is something that is at the forefront of their mind. CRM is at the forefront of their mind as well. So with such a crowded space, how do you stand out from the competition, especially where you're at, which is in Melbourne? And there's a lot of companies doing the same sort of thing as you. So what stands you apart from your competitors?
So Melbourne is funny because it's definitely still a small business mentality. I feel that it's still, it's huge, but still there's a lot of small businesses. There's just a lot. And we want to be face-to-face, which I couldn't say that, a year ago. We wanted to be face-to-face and couldn't be. But that's kind of our thing, is we want to be client-facing. We want to be a long-term partner. And that's where the listening comes in. You can't zoom in and, get something done and just leave. We want to be a long-term partner so we can find out the goals and then be there long enough to see those goals happen and then adjust as need be. So goals change. Obviously during COVID, people had one business plan and that all went out the back door. And now the new business plan is we're a takeout restaurant, and your system has to be able to change with that. So we simply just want to be a long-term partner. We want to be face-to-face as much as possible. And we want to, we're not just after a quick buck. We want to be around for a while.
It's always a good goal for companies to have that longevity there. And I suppose on that point, Mark, as well, what would be the goal for you in, say, 12 months from now, maybe 5 years from now? Where do you see Stratiform?
Well, we just want to continue to build. And we want to be the company that everyone calls when they need anything from business consulting all the way up. Right now, we do a lot of supporting people. So if somebody already has a partner on board, we still get called to be kind of a third-party consultant. But we want to do more of the face-to-face and be the primary name. I don't want to be as big as some of the other big names out there. I'm not interested in becoming a Deloitte or one of those. Mm-hmm. I hate to use the word boutique, but we always want to be that style. We always want to be in the room with the right people, and we want to be there as one of the trusted partners, so we can kind of help you take your business to where you want it to go. And, we're happy, of course, we want to grow as we go.
So I suppose one of the key things is obviously trying to assess which companies could benefit from implementing CRM as a strategy. Is there any sort of limiting factors in that sense, or can most companies have some sort of benefit from the work that you do?
I don't think there's really a limit. I mean, I'm doing one now for a local basketball club because they're not for profit, and and because my kids all go there, their onboarding process is horrible and it drives me nuts. So I've kind of said, hey, listen, let's take the CRM, let's take a few of the tools that it comes with, and let's help that onboarding process so the coaches know what their responsibilities are, the referees know what their responsibilities are, and the players don't have to guess. They know what the rules are. And it's all there on the website that links to the CRM that throws out a form to help you register. So, yeah, I mean, I think almost any business would help. It would help them in their goal to grow.
It's terrific. Well, Mark, it's been so fantastic to chat with you today. Just before I let you go, I want to make sure that we can have everybody who's watching this find where your services are. So the website, social media, and also any final thoughts you'd like to leave with us today. Yeah,
well, just stratiform.com.au is the website. And we're on Facebook as well, if you want to, just Stratiform. And yeah, we're keen to be your partner and help and consult and, help you get your business. I have a lot of people that I end up with a couple hour long conversation, and sometimes I can help them in that couple hours and I never hear from them again. So, that's fine. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's only two options out of that, which is either they got exactly what they needed, or they certainly don't need it, or because you provided them with all the answers. So, look, it's always a good result. But Mark, thank you so much for your time today, mate. It's been great to chat.
Yep, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Well, that's Mark Wheeler, the director at Stratiform Business Solutions. And if you missed any part of that chat, you can catch the full interview on our YouTube channel, Kalkine Media, so make sure that you subscribe. I'm James, reminding you to stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine.